Again, everybody, and welcome to Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis, along with my WWE Hall of Famer co-host, Mr. Teddy Long. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing really great, Mac. Good. We're all set today for another great show, and we got another great guest.
We do. Oh, by the way, just to let everybody know, the 100th episode is coming up, and we have a very special guest coming on that episode. Teddy, that's going to be Trish Stratus.
Well, yeah, I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but every time Trish and I meet, this is the way we meet. So we're going to have special guest, Trish motherfucking Stratus, okay?
Yes.
And that's how we meet. And you heard that when we had on the show. Well, people will hear it when we do the show.
Oh,
but that's how we meet each other. She calls me Teddy motherfucking Long. And so
that's coming up on our 100th episode. That's just a couple of episodes away. But as Teddy said, today we got a fantastic guest. The only problem is I don't know how to introduce this guest, to be honest. He does a million different things from what I can tell. He's an extremely interesting character in the wrestling world. So I'm just going to throw it to Steve, GWC. Steve, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Wham, bam. Wham, bam, all my fam. It's the GWC Greatest Wrestling Collection, changing lanes through wrestling nostalgia intersection. I'm the owner of GWC Museum. First and foremost, Big Mac, God bless you. Big Teddy, God bless you out there. One love.
Thank you, brother. One love to you, brother.
Good to see you, fellas. You know, Wrestling Museum, been rocking and rolling over here in Detroit, Michigan, collecting strong 30 years of nostalgia, keeping the history alive.
Let me ask you, Steve, I'm curious, what got you into wrestling in the first place, and when did the bug of buying different things, I just saw something flash, but yes. When did you get into the actual collecting of wrestling memorabilia?
Well, I'll tell you what, brother. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, rocking and rolling it. I was part of the 97,000 strong at WrestleMania III here at the Pontiac Silverdome. Body slam heard around the world. My favorite match of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. My favorite technical match in the squared circle. But I've been an avid fan my whole life. Old school days, AWA, NWA, WWF days, into the WWF days, and all the different territories out there. It's just something I've loved my whole life, and collecting started a long time ago, and I love preserving the history. It's what it's all about out here.
But what was your first item you ever collected?
It's kind of wild that, I always kept wrestling figures. As a kid, it was wild. LJN, Hasbro, these are just some old school wrestling figure lines out there. Yeah. I used to keep these in packages as a kid, which was unheard of, obviously, as a kid, but I'd say the first piece of memorabilia, I was just talking about him, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I got a pair of his, this is kind of wild, a pair of his bootlaces when I was 11 to 12 years old. Wow. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I thought I would tell everybody, I got history right here. I got the Dragon's bootlaces. And who would have known, 30 years later, 160,000 items later, I got his gis and a bunch of his boot, all kind of his stuff around here. But just that one item that sparked up the passion and the wildness for me.
You mentioned action figures, and yes. Teddy and I have talked about this on the show a couple of times. Sure. As an avid collector, yes. Would you buy a Teddy Long action figure? I mean, and not, be honest. I'm saying, do you think consumers would buy it? Because surprisingly, one has never been made.
Now, here's what I'll say about that. Now, Teddy Long figure is long overdue. No pun intended. No pun intended out there. Now, If I were to buy an Elite, of course, they could do a throwback series. They could do Teddy.
Oh yeah.
They could go back to Teddy's referee days when he had the casual ponytail in the back. I don't think I'm not ready. Teddy was looking good. Now, I myself, yes, as an avid collector, always have been. Of course, it's a much needed figure, and I'm not just saying that because Teddy's a brother from another mother out there, but that's just how I feel about it. Big facts.
Teddy, I know you've hung out with Steve on a couple of occasions, and because when I first said his name, he immediately Teddy kind of grinned and like, yeah, okay, yeah, I know he's been hanging out with Steve. So, when was the first time you guys met? Was that at SummerSlam when you met?
I met. Teddy, I'll let you take that.
I think it was the first time. I'd seen Steve somewhere else. I just didn't get a chance to talk to him. We was like in passing. But the first time I had a chance to talk to him, I think was at SummerSlam there when me and him and Godfather got a chance to meet and talk. And so, man, what an honor it was to meet you because, I mean, you've taken a lot of your time and look at all the stuff that you have accomplished and look what you have done, especially not just for yourself, but just for the wrestling business, And what was interesting to me is what you just finished talking about. You got a pair of his shoelaces. How did you get the laces?
It's wild you might ask that. So it was I've always been a fan, like I said, of wrestling out there. Now I was following the indie circuit here in Detroit. It's no longer. It was a Great Lakes Wrestling, and it was Ricky was just doing some appearances, some guest matching back in the midnight, back when the careers were so tight and you didn't have time to go anywhere else. It was one of his in between WCW and WWF times. Yep. He came rock and rolled at a small town, Westland, Michigan, in a gym of all places. And we had a great time. And it was there that I got those. I sat and talked with him. He could see it all through me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just there's super fans out there and there's people that live and bleed it. And I consider myself a little bit of both. But I'm so passionate about it. And it's, hell, I got the first time I met Macho Man Randy Savage. First time I ever met who's my spirit animal, rest in peace up there. I passed, by the time I got to the front of the line, Teddy and Mac, by the time I got I was so, I'm a young buck. I was so amped up that I got to the front. Hey, my knees buckled. I passed out. I was so excited. That just shows right there. It's something that it's always been. I've been more than passionate about it, and I love the history. I walk through the walls of the GWC Museum. It's 160,000 items, folks. Which is I wouldn't know this unless Guinness Book of World Records came through over here. I wouldn't have known the number. I would have just said a hell of a lot. But
you've got the capability of moving. Is that possible? You can might be able to...
Yeah, I didn't know how we wanted to rock and roll. Now I do have GWC Detroit is where we're at, west side of Detroit. And now here's the wild history, Mac and Teddy. I buy some properties in Detroit, and this actual home, this house, this was on the demo list 4 years ago. This is the house I grew up in. Wow. This is my childhood home. Wow. So I saw that come on the list. They were tearing it down. It was, it took $100,000 just to make it a house again. But I said, you know what? That's where it's going to be the home for the GWC. It's only right. I mean, the house had been vacant for a couple decades. And I said, you know what? I love nostalgia and history. So here we are. Just like when Mick was over here rocking with Most Wanted Treasures and Jake. I said, I used to watch you guys right in this very house in the wood grain framed television set, right? In the Legends Wing is what it's called now. And,
so now the house is history.
Now Teddy got it right on, nailed the hammer and nailed the nail on the head with the hammer. Now GWC is going to be open to the public, Monroe, Michigan, by Halloween. So it's about a month and a half, folks. Downtown Monroe, I'm opening up to the public so we could all really share, because we just been doing some filming over here and some stuff. Oh wait, hold on real quick. Hello, Godfather. What's up, Bear? I'm live, right? Godfather, I'm live with Teddy and Mac Davis. Yes, Teddy. Yes, Teddy does get lifted and gifted with me and you. I could tell that story. I could do that. You brought me something from Vegas. I appreciate that. One love. Well, God bless you, my brother. Maintaining the fast lane all aboard the smoke train. I'll let them know right now. One love. Godfather said, "What's up to Mac and Big Teddy Long?"
Yeah.
I was going to tell you to let him know that Teddy is facing the camera for the interview today. Thank God.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes when we're out on the road, myself and Godfather, I'm blessed to call Bear. Hell, he's the actual godfather to one of my kids out there.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, I'm blessed to call my brother from another mother. We go way back. But speaking of going back, sometimes we're out on the road doing our smoke train tours, and maybe we run into Mac and Teddy. And maybe Teddy comes over, we get a little lifted and gifted, and he might start facing the wrong way, but he'll get back in action.
Hey, I don't care about facing the wrong way. All I care about is how I feel.
That is, hey, and I like that. I actually love that, Teddy. You know, it's one time we're down in Tennessee. It's myself and Godfather and Teddy, and it was for Flair's final match. It was Starcaster SummerSlam. There was a lot going on that weekend. There's a lot going on, and we went outside for a little break. We'll call it a medicated break, if you will. We're getting lifted and gifted. Teddy's in the back seat. We had a lot of planes going. Teddy says, "Man, I got to freshen up, player." And I'm going to grab the bottle of cologne or something. Teddy's dressed to, you know, when you're wearing your suit, you're looking good. And Teddy grabs a industrial size. I don't know if you remember this. You grab the industrial size Ozium, which is car air freshener.
He still uses that.
Teddy starts getting the suit. I said, "Teddy, that's a little dabble, do you?" He says, player, I'm fresh as they get out here. And he gets out. We walk past Nash, and he goes, "You guys are smelling good." And the rest is history.
Well, Steve, can you give us a quick tour of just a little bit of what you got there?
You know, yeah, I love that. We can take a walk. We can take a walk through the walls. I have a couple items right next to me, and then we can take a walk through a couple of the wings.
Yeah, show me what you got there.
Just one of Godfather's. This is his debut hat that he wore debuting as Godfather, and he also wore this when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Very cool.
Shout out to Godfather. This is Sergeant Slaughter wore this WrestleMania 7 against Hulk Hogan. Inscribed, ending Pukemania. He also, remember when he turned his back on the USA? That was a wild time. I mean, we had the Gulf War. It was a wild time for him to go against the U.S.
Oh, God, yes.
Sarge, a good brother of mine. Now, this item is special to me for many reasons. Now, I got a lot of different pairs of boots from a lot of legends and OGs.
Turn it just a little bit. That light's kind of black. There you go.
There we go. Now, got a lot of different boots and awesome items and relics in the museum here. Now, these are my oldest piece of ring worn in the GWC Museum. These are owned by the original, rest in peace to the original Black Panther, the original OG Black Panther. Big Jim Mitchell. He wore these in 1937, folks.
Wow.
Now, these when you want to say seen some road time, he also wore them in the 40s, a little bit in the 40s, but he wore these in Portland Wrestling, 1937 and 1939.
How did you get your hands on those?
This is one of those wild items I chased down over the years. I said I wanted the first African-American big name in wrestling. I wanted an item from Big Jim Mitchell for a long time. And so through the family, chased it down. I travel states. I'll go. It doesn't matter where I'll go anywhere just to chase down the nostalgia and the history. But something about these has always been special to me because you think about it. I mean, he paved the way, not just for African-Americans in wrestling, but wrestling in general. And to have something from the 30s, folks. I mean, you can tell by the toes he was in the winning position a lot, like my Ivan Putski boots, because he was toed down. But let's take a trip down Nostalgia Boulevard, population us, if you will.
We got about 5 minutes left, so let's see what we can do here.
I might lose you out there. You still with me?
Well, yeah, we're still here. Don't worry about us.
All right, I got you. Now let's get out of the VIP lounge. Let's head over to the Legends wing. Now, this is the game room. Game room, a little wildness happens over here. Little craziness, just to say the least. There is an arcade game back there. There is a pool table under there, but upstairs is 1,500 square feet of all figures and everything in between with the gangster lane. Now, since we're rocking and rolling, I'm talking to some legends like Mac and Teddy. Let's head over here to the Legends wing. Ring worn history. Now, we got Ric Flair's robe. You guys remember when he rock and rolled this butterball biscuit right here? I mean, WCW days, WWF days, NWA days. Now we could transfer a little energy. Ultimate Warrior ring worn tassels. We got some Warrior trunks. The Ultimate Force rocking and rolling. Hulk Hogan 1989 ring worn. Also 1994 Halloween Havoc versus Ric Flair right here at Joe Louis Arena, Detroit. Now, fellas, we are in GOAT territory. We are in GOAT territory right here. And the OG, rest in peace to Macho Man Randy Savage, his original Survivor Series Mega Powers ring worn glasses. Here's one of his coats, one of his robes, some boots.
Steve, let me ask you, while you're showing us this stuff, what kind of investment do you have in this collection? Because it's quite extensive.
I'll tell you what, it's number-wise, it's beyond wild. I mean, some of the items, put it this way, a Flair robe sold last week on Golden Auctions and went well over six figures.
Wow.
Well over, just for the robe. Once upon a time when this was insured and a lot more items have been added since then, it was 2.3 or 2.4 million is what they insured it at. But, it's every nook and cranny you walk through, you're going to see history, whether or not you're talking about the Rockers, you're going Macho, you're going Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. They gave this a sensational Sherry, rest in peace, when she got inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was
so. How do you get your hands on this collection now? Do you have?
Did
people come to you?
You know what? It's a lot of the items I get through the family, through other avid collectors out there, or just from the talent. Bobby the Brain Heenan's neck brace, some of Bear's Papa Shango makeup. Good friend of mine.
Do you sell part of your collection?
Jimmy Hart.
I'm sorry, Steve. Do you sell part of your collection?
I do not sell. I haven't sold anything collection-wise. Nothing's for sale. Now, GWC on the river, I'm going to have some items for sale. No ring-worn items or anything like that. We will have wrestling relics and some other items that are going to be rocking and rolling. But no ring-worn or anything like that. You're not going to be able to come in and get Brutus's WrestleMania 5 bag. You're not, and that ain't get Ronnie Garvin's towel. Good superstar Billy Graham. A bunch of these guys, I'm blessed. I would have never thought it'd come full circle that I could call Uncle Jake on the phone or hit up Jimmy if we want to talk positive vibes. He wanted me to have this. Jimmy gave this to me years back. This is his cummerbund he wore it in WrestleMania 3 with Alice Cooper, Jake the Snake. Just items like that. I love some of his original glasses.
Steve, I wish we could keep talking, but unfortunately we're running out of time here. They'll cut us off in a hard bit here.
One love.
Man, brother, I've enjoyed it. Where do people find more information about the museum?
Now, anybody can tune in, rock and roll with us. Facebook, Instagram. I don't do a whole lot on YouTube, but follow Greatest Wrestling Collection. It's got to be the verified one so you guys can rock and roll. Keep it official, like Sergeant Slaughter's whistle, as I like to say. It's always a good time rocking with you guys. It's
we've enjoyed it, Steve.
I get to go, and the next thing you know, we haven't even got to a quarter of the wings of the GWC.
Oh, I know. I know. I really want to be able to get there in person one day and be able to see this collection, because it actually, to me, is probably one of the most impressive ones I've seen.
Yes, most definitely. And it's always good rocking and rolling with you guys. Before we do get out of here, I want to give a rest in peace, a hats off, a moment of silence, Big Sid Udy. We lost Sid this week. Yep. And I know Teddy managed Sid, and we all rock and rolled with him, and great guy in and outside the ring. I knew him as well personally. And whether you knew him as Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid, we know one thing: he was an OG, and he will be missed.
Yes, he will. Exactly. Yes, he was a part of my childhood growing up and my fandom for professional wrestling. He was part of it, no doubt. Teddy, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I just want to thank Steve for taking the time out to come on the show with us today and showing us his outstanding collection. Man, I've never seen nothing like that in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And, I'm kind of like him, man. It'd be hard for me to sell something too. But I mean, unless push come to shove in it, everybody's got a price. So you never know. But right now, I'm like him. I just enjoy all that great stuff he's got, man. And Steve, once again, man, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you, Teddy. One love to both you guys. And let's rock and roll. Keep it Triple C. That's cool, calm, and collected. We'll stay in that right direction. One love.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you
God
again
bless.
next week. This has been Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis, and that's WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long and our special guest, Steve GWC. To celebrate 100 weekly episodes, Wrestling's Road Trip After Hours announces our special guest, Trish Stratus, a legend whose dreams became reality. Trish Stratus, trailblazer. Stratisfaction, WWE Hall of Famer. Historical 448-day reign as WWE Women's Champion, the longest reign of any Women's World Champion in the 21st century. 7-time WWE Women's World Champion. Get Stratisfied. It's our 100th episode celebration with WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. Coming soon.